I spoke with Texas Republican Congressman Michael McCaul about the Signal report and much more. Here's our conversation. Congressman, CBS News has confirmed through various sources that a Pentagon Inspector General's report found that during Signalgate, the Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth risked compromising sensitive military information which could have endangered American troops and mission objectives. How do you respond to that?
Well, I do know the Inspector General's report found that none of the information was classified information, which is very important. It was all unclassified. But, you know, I think we have a duty, both in Congress and the executive, to ensure our communications are not, you know, put like guys like you on the text so it gets out publicly. That's just kind of common sense. And, you know, anytime you send troops into harm's way or you have naval vessels, you know, shooting tomahawks in the country, you want to keep that as close to the vest as possible. I think, you know, overall, I think the perception is it was a bit reckless, and you know, the consequences were there. We know that my actually good friend Michael Waltz paid the price, unfortunately, but now he's the ambassador to the United Nations.
So is it your understanding, Congressman, that it wasn't classified because in the moment the Defense Secretary declassified it, even though there's no documentation of that?
I don't know about that, Major, to be honest with you. I'd have to look closer at the Inspector General's report. I do think it was pretty clearly stated, though, that it was not classified, and I know that the Secretary of Defense, now War, has testified to that, as has the CIA Director, you know, Ratcliffe, and Michael Waltz as well.
So you would put this up as a kind of rookie mistake?
I think it was a little bit, it could have been done better, put it that way. Did it ultimately endanger lives? No. But in the future, I would have a better practice to go under to make sure these communications are secure so they don't leak to the public. You don't want to give the enemy advance warning of your intentions, especially a strike such as this one.
I want to turn now literally to the Senate. Rhode Island Democratic Senator Jack Reed, who is the ranking member of the Senate Armed Services Committee. Senator, I'm so glad to have you with us. What do you know?
Thank you very much.
About the report, the Inspector General's report, and what is your assessment of the conduct of the Defense Secretary?
Well, the report, which I've read, is still classified, but there are public statements already that have indicated that there were serious misjudgments by the Secretary. Poor decisions about taking sensitive information and putting it on an unclassified system. And I think the most compelling thing I've heard is a conclusion that he jeopardized the lives of pilots that were going into action by releasing critical data. All of this adds up to very, very poor judgment. As I said at his confirmation hearing, I did not believe he had the competence, the temperament, and the experience to be Secretary of Defense, and he's proven that.
The White House said the following through Caroline Leavitt, the press secretary. This review affirms what the administration has said from the beginning. No classified information was leaked. President Trump stands by Secretary Hegseth. Your reaction to that, Senator Reed?
Well, that might be a technicality. Certainly very highly sensitive information was released on a non-classified source. None of that information should have been discussed on that source. And the Inspector General concluded that the release of the information jeopardized the lives, potentially, of American airmen and other servicemen. So that's a very weak defense for what took place.
And Senator, when the White House says, as the Pentagon also says, well, nobody got hurt, nobody was really truly jeopardized or put in any jeopardies, so what are you worrying about?
Well, I would worry about that becoming a common practice in the Department of Defense. One of the ironies here is if someone else besides Secretary Hegseth did it, they would likely be charged under the UCMJ or other federal law for releasing classified information, or at least utilizing a unclassified system to talk about sensitive information. So we're worried about the impact on the military. If this gets to be accepted, it'll be extraordinarily dangerous to the conduct of military operations.
Returning to our top stories, CBS News has learned the Pentagon watchdog found Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth could have endangered American service members when he shared military information in that Signal group chat earlier this year. The full report is expected to be released tomorrow. It also says the information shared to the group, which accidentally included the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic, contained information from a classified email regarding military action in Yemen. Alex Pleitsis joins us now. He's a senior fellow at the Atlantic Council and a former Pentagon official. Alex, thank you for being here. What is your reaction to the findings?
So, not surprising. I was waiting for the watchdog to actually come out and establish the facts versus what's been leaked, because it hadn't been confirmed. And so it appears to be the transmission of classified national security information, which makes sense given the fact that it included the future movement and location of U.S. military assets and troops prior to the commencement of activities. So under the definition, right, that would fall either under top secret or secret, depending on the operation. And the definition for that is that would cause exceptionally grave harm or grave harm to U.S. national security if it were to be disclosed. So in this particular case, it was entered into a Signal chat, right? Signal is an encrypted app that's used to communicate very commonly in the community, but it's not an approved medium for transmitting classified national security information. So it could have compromised the safety of U.S. troops in the process.
How so?
So because it was transmitted outside of approved classified channels in which it would have been encrypted, it's possible that an adversary could have intercepted that, and then they could have taken action ahead of time, against U.S. forces or prepared defenses in the region. So it doesn't appear that that took place, but the fact that it was transmitted in unapproved channels is in fact a violation.
To your expertise, how significant is it whether it's classified, top secret, or secret?
I mean, it's disclosure of national security information. It's classified. It should not have been in unapproved channels. Had that, happened to a more junior person in the chain of command, they absolutely would have been reprimanded, in pretty serious trouble, security clearance, suspension, that type of thing. So to have that come across, particularly with seniors in the room who've held security clearances, who are not just political appointees, but have actually served in the military and have had to deal with this on a working basis, where some have claimed ignorance in the past in other situations like this, that excuse doesn't really work. And so, it is a pretty serious breach.
So what needs to happen to make sure it doesn't happen again?
So, I mean, it's pretty clear that this cannot happen again in this or any other unapproved medium. At that point, it's the sitting Secretary of Defense, so any reprimands would come from senior administration officials, whether it be the president, the chief of staff, national security advisor, somebody, but he works directly for the president. So at that point, I imagine he was already counseled immediately after this transpired not to do this again. And it caused a lot of problems in particular. And it was Mike Waltz, who had initiated the conversation, and, he was removed as national security advisor not that long afterwards. So, I think the White House had already reacted at that time and taken some action, even if it wasn't publicly stated that that was the reason for it.
Okay, Alex Pleitsis, thank you.
Thanks so much for having me.